welcome to the main event. Are you ready to pop your cork? In the left corner at 6'4", 242 pounds, with a record of 45-0, the undisputed.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Will.
Hey, how many bottles of wine have you had?
Well, Will, it's not the wine. I'm just so excited about the podcast.
Yeah, I am too. This is not a boxing match. This is We Know Texas Vino.
Salute. Will, buddy, how you doing?
Me and Andy drove in on this.
I say you dragged someone with you today.
Yeah, I did.
Holy two.
And that fog coming in this morning?
Yeah, there was awesome fog.
I couldn't see within my hand in front of me, and I had to drive.
And you still made it here. And both of our vehicles took a wrong turn right next to where we are today.
Well, we saw a sign that says this is not Enoch. Was it Enoch Stomp?
That was pretty good. Like which tells me at least 500 to 1,000 people have pulled into that driveway. So, well, listen, we're back for episode 47 with We Know Texas Vino. Glad to have our great friend Andy with us today. Hi, Andy. How are you doing?
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
There you go. He's with us. He's part of our partnership now, which is pretty cool. So look out, America. It's going to be amazing. Look out, Texas, right? So, so we're back here real quick, and we've had a great time in 2024. We had our first podcast drop last weekend. We have this one we're going to drop this following weekend. Yes, we're actually doing a couple this weekend today. We're out venturing in East Texas. So we're excited to not only put together a few podcasts for the next month or so, but we're excited about the people who are participating, all of our feedback we're getting, right? And so this is episode 47. How did that happen?
Man, it's crazy. I still wake up and be like, wow, we're in our second season of this stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
We're just hitting that floor running on right now.
Well, for our listeners, I can't get a smile off Will's face, so he's very ecstatic about what's happening here. So today we're in, is it Harlingen, Texas?
It's outside of Harlingen. Is that correct? Harlingen, Texas?
Yes.
Harlingen, Texas. And we're at Enoch Stomp Vineyard and Winery. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, I did my research. See how I did that? Yeah. So today we're hanging out here. It's going to be a great time. And we're with Altus today. And Altus is, I'm assuming, the owner and the proprietor of this great establishment.
Yeah, I'm one of the owners.
One of the
two owners.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. Well, we're excited about that. I know you have a lot of wines we're going to talk about today. I see some awards up there on your mantle, which is fantastic. And the two boys I'm with today have spoke very highly. My first time here, and I'm excited to be here, and you have a beautiful establishment. So, Will, real quick, let's just hit some of our behind the scenes stuff, but where can our listeners reach us? We just talked about this.
Yeah, so you can find us at weknowtexasvino.wine. Also on our new Facebook group page at We Know Texas Vino, and it's still tagged to our page, but you find us on our group, and then also find us on any podcasting platforms out there.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's several of them. That's pretty good. And so I just challenge people to give us a 5-star rating if you like what we're doing. I know having Andy here is very beneficial because he's going to help take us to the next level. But really, if people have feedback, if you have concerns, certainly send them our way. But more importantly, we just want to spread the word of all the great places that we're visiting in 2024.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep. And then we're going to go ahead and just say this now.
Okay.
Because this is going to be our first talk about it. We're actually having a tasting in February.
We are. We're going to talk about it. We will announce more details coming soon, but we will be doing a tasting of 7 wines, including 1 sparkling. And it'll be basically a comparison of Texas wines compared to New World wines. No, Old World wines.
Old World
wines. Yeah. So.
Well, that's going to be so much fun. And I know we're all kind of orchestrating that. But Andy, thanks for really spearheading that. And that's going to be so much fun. I know I already have several friends who are interested in participating, assuming we don't sell out in like the first 3 seconds of the opportunity.
Going to sell out. It's going to be into February. So
it's going to sell out faster.
Tickets are going to go online, and then we can only take the first 36 people. So
Right. Yeah. Well, this is our starting point, right? Our point A for some of this great activity we're going to do in 2024. We're good.
We're going to sell it faster than Taylor Swift.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
Someone's going to have to mention Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Well, I bet the gentleman next to us is a Taylor Swift fan. So let's introduce officially Altus. Altus, welcome to We Know Texas Vino, bud.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it to be here.
Yeah. If I can just describe to our listeners kind of what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at a beautiful facility. Driving here was fantastic, minus the fog. It was kind of crazy. But overall, what a beautiful property you have. And then you, for our listeners, are just a really happy looking gentleman, kind, welcoming. Thanks for opening the doors for us and letting us come in here and have some fun.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. So who are you? Where are you? I know you come from South Africa. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I am Altus Kugelenberg from South Africa. Me and my family, we came over in 2001. I never thought I will farm here with grapes in East Texas one day. And it's so you know your road is set out, and then I met John, my partner, And so the first grapes I planted in 2003 for somebody. And then we start Enoch Stomp in 2004.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's so almost. Wow. Are you in the 20-year run here? You have an anniversary coming up?
Next year will be 21 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's
awesome.
You're established, aren't you? Yeah. Good. And so South Africa, what did you do back there? Did you have family there still?
South Africa, I farmed there. I farmed 5 generations in the family.
Wow.
And so never thought I will, when we live there, we will farm here one day.
Right, in Texas, East Texas of all places, right? East Texas. Yeah, was it always East Texas, or were you in some other locations first?
Yeah, we started in Houston, and my wife, she's a PT, and so the first year I was a house dad, and I farmed with vegetables and grapes in South Africa, so it was a big difference from farming to be a house dad. So and then she met somebody that work in Longview, Texas. So we moved in 2002 to Longview.
Okay. And how far is Longview from Houston? Is that quite the
I think it's about 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, yeah. Just give people perspective on where we are geographically. So I know driving here today, we went through some hills and different things like that. It was kind of fun. It's just a different part of Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I always joke and said when we live there, it's so flat there. And then when we start to get into East Texas, you start to get the hills. And
does it remind you of South Africa at all? I mean, I've had friends from there who've gone there. Does it, the hills?
Yeah, the hills, a little bit more mountains in Cape Town.
Cape Town. So, okay. Yeah, we know right where you are. Okay, good. And then so you had a brainstorm. So how, I mean, you obviously come from like a planting culture. You sound like you did that back home, back in South Africa, then here. How did this come to fruition? How did planting grapes and then learning all the beautiful behind the scenes stuff that Andy's so proficient at? Yeah. And then how did this all take part? How did it come together?
I said it's I didn't thought we can plant some grapes here in East Texas because of the climate, the humidity. And there's a winery close to us. They call it Los Pinos. So one guy told me there's a guy that's farming with grapes. So I visited him, and then I think the guy was an engineer that started Los Pinos. So I thought, okay, so if he can plant some grapes, then I can plant some grapes too. So I met John, my partner in church, and his son and daughter played tennis with my son and daughter. And he always wanted to do like a restaurant wine thing. So he said, okay, let's go and do plant some grapes. So all the grapes that we can plant here, it's resistant. We've got the Pierce disease.
I was going to ask about that. That's right. That's a big one over in East Texas, isn't it?
Yeah. So it kill all the European type of grapes like the Merlots and the Cabs. We plant some Cabs, we plant some Merlots, but after a couple of years they die. So
because of Pierce disease.
Yeah. So we've got Blanc de Bois, we've got Norton, we've got Lenoir, Vallard Blanc, and Champanelle.
Wow, that's great. And those are the ones that thrive here in East Texas. And so are they resistant to the Pierce disease? Is that why
they are resistant? The Lenoir, they can get a little bit more like fungicides, like powdery mildew and downy mildew. But otherwise, we don't have any Pierce disease.
Okay, that's great. That's wonderful.
That's the big thing right there. Pierce disease is a big killer.
I remember when we were starting this podcast, I'm like, I've got to research Texas wines, and the first thing that came up when I researched was Pierce disease, and obviously it's a major problem. But I've heard even more recently that in East Texas it's a major issue. So obviously you've made adjustments.
And it's what is the bug? I'm drawing a blank on the bug that actually
they call it. It's like a sharpshooter.
Yeah, the sharpshooter. Yeah, glasswing sharpshooter. That they actually pierce the actual vine itself, and it goes inside the vine itself and kills it from the inside out.
That's amazing. Yeah,
because it sounds like the juice can't go to the top, so the whole vine.
Yeah. So you've been here 20 years, which is amazing. Again, I'm sitting in a beautiful room right now, and I know it's adjacent to a bottling room. It looks like you got some great barrels in the back over here. So how did that? What is the timeline? Let's say 20 years ago, you had a field of mountains.
Yeah. So it looks like a jungle when we started here. So I put a lot of hours on a dozer. Because roots didn't grow from one type of soil to another. So we've got nearly 3 different types of soil. So we've got the clay, like sandy, and then we've got some rock, and then we've got some clay. So I have to mix it about 5 feet deep. And then, we start planting it. The vision was, just a small winery. Never thought that it will be start to get this big. And so I always joke and said me and John wants to make a little bit of wine sitting on a porch and enjoy a glass of wine. But then it started to get so busy with everything. And I learned with a winery, when you start a winery, you always add to it every year.
Okay.
So I always said the reason why I left South Africa was to spend some more time with my wife and the children.
Oh, no.
But it was so busy here that I nearly have to FaceTime.
Yeah. Well, because you're an entrepreneur and you're out here doing your thing. I know our family, we have a whiteboard and we put new goal every January. We reflect on the previous year and we write new goals down. Is that what you do? You said you add every year to something. So do you and your cohorts get together and just say, okay, this is what we're going to add this year?
That is so. But yeah, so.
Yeah, and so again, I want to kind of go into the history of what we're experiencing today because it's so fantastic. But 10 years ago, what was here? I mean, that's halfway through the experience and the journey.
I think about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, where we sit now, this was the parking area.
Okay.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the tasting room was in the kitchen, and then we could see the neighbor's property through the wall there where they bottle the wine today. And then from there, every year it expand and expand.
Wow.
So
I mean, that's a good thing, right?
that's a good thing to the point.
Yeah, to the point.
Then you have to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
So we about a year or two, COVID, we've got some events out here. So we've got some weddings, and then we've got the Red Grape Stomp, or we've got Valentine in February.
Oh.
So with COVID, when everything started to slow down a little bit, we start to build the deck at the restaurant. So because normally with the weddings, the people sit on the hill, downhill, so it's nice and flat. And yeah, we sell more wine with COVID.
I think everybody.
I don't know.
Did.
It seems like they get thirsty.
We bought more wine during COVID, so we were the instigators.
We had to put up with our family members.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, and every winery that we've talked to, started out, like you said, very small, wanted just to do a few wines and then to have a small tasting room. And then next thing you know, you had to add, and then you had to add, and then you had to add, and next thing you know, you went from this, I just want to do something small, to something, holy crap, how did I get here this fast? And this is such an amazing ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing how it duplicates, right? It seems like every year. And just like collecting things in your house. If you ever move to a new home, you notice how much junk you have and you have to like purge a third of it. That's the same thing here, but you've built infrastructure. I'm seeing things everywhere. So, what's kind of the goal for, let's say, do you have a goal for this year, 2024? What are you doing? Or can you just close that?
Or do you have to kill us after you tell us?
Yeah. I think we're going to rethink a little bit about our wines. We're going to make a little bit less, but more give attention to the quality of the wines.
Ah, yes.
And we are not planning to expand, but and then with the wine club, we've got the wine club too. So what we normally try to do is we make a cab from East Texas, grapes from East Texas, grapes from West Texas, and grapes from Washington. So then when the people taste it, they can taste the difference from the soil from East Texas and West Texas.
That's cool.
So we're going to, work that into the plan too.
That is cool. I like that.
That's almost fun. That's adventurous. That's so much fun.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Yeah. And so speaking of grapes, so right now, do you produce all the grapes in your wines or do you outsource those as well? Okay. You mentioned Washington.
Yeah. So with all the crazy weather the last 3 years, you can see Monday will be really cold too. When we get here, I think the first 10 years we hardly did get any snow and stuff here. So last year, the grapes bud open about 3 weeks earlier than normal. And then late March, we've got that frost. So the white grapes normally start earlier bud open than the red grapes. So we lost the harvest there. So there's some of the wines that's dead. And so we have to buy some from other places. The Merlots and the Cabs we get from Brownfield, close to Lubbock.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
from Ready.
Yeah.
Nara.
Nara.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's pretty popular over there. Yeah. So would you agree? Because as I'm watching you describe that, there was some sighing going on, and it's like almost a sense of frustration. But would you agree? And I think most winemakers and ownership would agree to this, that Mother Nature is definitely in charge. You are not, and it's a little frustrating sometimes. So is that maybe one of your biggest frustrations?
That is so. As I said, in South Africa with the frost, we will make fires. You start with the drops running in the evening.
Yep.
And then you will start making a fire around 4 or 5 o'clock. But here it already around 10, 11 o'clock, it starts to freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
So I make fires. The water was dripping, nothing else. So, it's nature. You can do nothing about it.
Okay, yeah.
And it's farming, some years you will have good harvest, some years
Right.
got some nature.
It's up and down, and it will always be that way. And I don't know a lot about East Texas. I know more about like West Texas and North Texas. But over here, do you guys get more freeze? Do you guys get more frost than the other parts of Texas?
Yeah, so normally you are safe after Easter.
Mm-hmm.
But till Easter, you can get
you start praying.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, Easter, get here.
Get through
the
Easter.
date is actually, I think, typically it's around the 15th of April. Is usually the day that we say in Texas and have for years and years and years, even as a landscaper, let's get it done before or after, because you don't want to put fresh plantings down, spring color, and then it freezes.
And then it freezes, and it kills everything. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, obviously that's a huge frustration, just Mother Nature in general. But how about operating? I mean, for our listeners, this is a huge property. Is that also a major daily activity for you?
Yeah, it feels sometimes people drive in here and they see the grapes and stuff, and they really didn't know how much labor you have to put in there.
Indeed.
Because in the summer in East Texas, with the humidity, everything grows twice as fast. So with the pruning, you have to trim it. Otherwise, you can get the fungicides in there, and then you get diseases. So yeah, it's a lot of work that you have to put in there.
And you have a big staff, because this is a larger property that we've been to. We've been to some smaller ones, and we've been to some equal, but I don't think much bigger than this. So that's a pretty decent staff you have going. You have family, and then of course staff members who come daily or weekly.
Yeah, we've got some friends that will come and help harvest. Otherwise, I only have got 2 people that's helping with outside. Not with the bottling. There's about 3 or 4.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, because there's more fun bottling it
than outside.
Who wants to pick weeds when you can go bottle wine?
I normally like making the wine in the summer inside. Then outside it's crazy hot. So
yeah. Well, coincidentally, you're actually bottling today, isn't that correct?
We're bottling today.
Yeah. So we picked like the worst day ever to come see you.
No.
Well, you're here.
So out of curiosity, so coming in, I noticed that your vineyard is actually in a really nice little downhill area, which is very beautiful. Kind of that whole Napa Valley Italian vineyard style.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you can't machine harvest that whole thing.
No. So the first property that we looked at was really flat. So this one was the second one, nice hilly. And in South Africa, we normally disc between the grapes, keep it clean. But we learn it's raining so much here in an hour or 2 hours that, so I normally just bush hog. So with the angle, the draination is, it's really good.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Yeah. All the people who use the hills, they utilize that terrain, which is so smart.
Yeah. So the system is ready for a combine, because I didn't know if we will get some people to help harvest. But yeah, with that angle, some of the grapes it's fine, but with that one angle, it will be a little bit difficult.
Now, Michael, you noticed when we came in, you noticed that the rows were actually pointing one direction and not going downhill, but they were going.
Sure.
Do you know which way they're facing right now?
Northwest, south.
North and south.
Yeah,
yes.
North south.
Yeah, and that way it doesn't erode downhill.
Right.
And the water doesn't.
Who told us that? Someone told us that a couple dozen episodes ago.
Maybe it's the guy right across from you.
No, well, maybe.
No, the other guy, me.
Oh, okay.
So do you know why they normally plant in north and south?
From what I understand, I remember from class, is that it gets the proper sunlight, from east to west,
right.
And then also helps with the erosion also.
Yes. But sometimes, with farming, when you learn in the book, you have to change it a little bit. So sometimes with the contours of the property, you have to
adjust to the property demands, right?
But north, south.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Go ahead.
I have a question about your fruit. So I noticed on your website you talk about that y'all have, for example, the Norton grape, which is a really nice grape, guys. If you've ever tasted that, Norton is predominantly grown more northeast. I know in Missouri, that's one of their top grapes. And in case you don't know this, Augusta, Missouri was the first AVA in the United States, which was 6 months before Napa became an AVA in 1981.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So Augusta, but I noticed the Norton. So I also noticed that you have some wines from Washington. You mentioned that already. Your cab from Nara here in Texas. So what else do you have that's Texas grape? The Blanc de Bois, I presume, right?
Blanc de Bois, Le Noir or Black Spanish.
Yeah.
Ballard Blanc, that we do like a Chardonnay.
Okay.
Oh.
And I think we did an orange wine too with it. I will let you guys try it.
Okay.
Okay.
And what was that grape again?
A Ballard Blanc.
Okay. And what about your Portejas? Your famous Portejas is made with what grape?
We do it like a Madeira style.
Okay.
So we normally it's the white is from the Blanc de Bois.
Okay.
And the red or the dark is from blacks. Yeah.
Black Spanish.
So and then we normally keep it in the oak barrel for about 5 to 6 years.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And it'll get really warm in the summer and cold in the winter. We didn't put it in a climate control room.
And you guys, whenever you get to taste that, it's amazing because I was mentioning that when I first started as a Lone Star International Wine Competition judge, we got to taste in 2015 that one, and it has become, at least my understanding, is probably one of the best wines they've ever made here.
Wow.
The Portejas, Le Noir, the dark one, and I believe we won almost every award it could win there in Texas.
It did really good, yeah.
That's a modest statement.
Very modest. Everybody else is like, yeah, we won that one over there.
Well, that's what I like about this gentleman. He's modest, but also to the point. Yeah. Awesome.
So cool. I was just curious about your grapefruit that you use. Cool. Thank you. And your Chenin Blanc, I know that for you guys out there listening, that Chenin Blanc is the grape, if you will, the white grape of South Africa. They even make sparkling wine out of the Chenin Blanc. What do they call that in South Africa? The sparkling wine. You forgot?
Yeah.
Research.
I'm a little bit.
You put him on the spot. He's like, no, wait, I don't know that one.
There's actually a word for it, like Cava is from Spain, Champagne from France, and it's called, I know what it is, Cap Classique.
Club Classique, yeah.
Which is the South African version of Chenin Blanc sparkling.
Oh,
so
okay.
where
So
do you
good.
get Chenin Blanc from?
Chenin Blanc, we also get from West Texas.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Man,
we have to think a little bit.
sorry.
I think
you threw him on the spot.
Yeah.
We brought Andy in to ask the tough questions.
But I love it. Chenin Blanc is one of my favorite grapes because it's also the Loire region of France. That's where you get the Vouvray from, which is to die for.
So fun. Yeah, it's amazing. Awesome. We'll shift gears here real quick. That's amazing. So I read some stuff on your website, and I'm intrigued by the culture and what you've built here. Obviously very positive, intriguing, inviting, welcoming, all those sort of things. I see a young lady over there smiling, so you have a great staff. But I wrote a couple quotes, celebration of richness of being and an abundance of life. So what is the philosophy of this winery? What do you want to do and showcase for your community?
Yeah, so, on a hill, the view. We want people, when they came out there, to enjoy the view, the quietness, and a glass of wine. Because it's so busy in the cities. There's a lot of people from Dallas, people from Houston, people from Shreveport. So we just want them to enjoy the beauty and the quietness of the winery.
And the abundance of life, right? To smell and hear and watch and see all those beautiful creatures on earth. And then, of course, the people. I like people watching. I bet all of us like people watching a little bit.
Yeah, we do.
He just mentioned people from Houston and Dallas and Shreveport and all these places, but to watch and to learn and to build relationships.
Yeah. And I said beautiful when the sun set there in the evening.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
It's awesome.
So, Michael, we're going to have to come out here. And we're going to come out here on a weekend and drink wine. We're going to skip work maybe actually one day.
Well, I forgot the order that he said, but I think he said the last one was drink wine, for the ambiance. But I think I'm going to start with drinking wine and then enjoy the other things as well. But I'm excited to try some of the wine here. It's incredible.
And you may want to mention that they do have villas for rent here.
I saw those as I drove in. Tell us about that real quick.
Yeah, so with the weddings, the people always want to stay over, or they ask where they can stay over. So normally I send them to Jefferson. Jefferson is about 18 miles from here. Mm-hmm. So 2 years ago, we decided we're going to do some villas. So people will come out here. We've got some private wine tours and tastings. So they will do a private wine tour and tasting, and then they will go over to the restaurant and go and eat there. And then from there, they will go down and to the villas.
Nice.
And sit there on the porch and enjoy the.
That doesn't sound bad at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds
really nice.
that sounds very horrible.
Well, the villas are amazing. I had those in my notes. You've got a coffee house. You've got a Enoch Stomp. It must be a craft and food opportunity, fine dining. You have live events. You have weddings. You have private parties. You have private tours. What is it that you don't do around here?
I have to go and think about it.
So, but that's pretty intentional.
I could tell you one thing you don't put up with is rotten children.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed they don't allow dogs.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah, well, you are dog.
No smoking.
No smoking. I like that as well. Yeah. So that alone has got to keep you pretty busy. Is that a year-long gig for you guys? I mean, do you always have people who are trying to capitalize on the opportunities here at this beautiful winery? I mean, you got all the great amenities.
Yeah. No, there's always. We've got the period during the year. The beginning of January. That's a little bit slow, but. After January, everything starts to get crazy.
I bet it does.
Yeah,
I think this is what they call a dry out January now.
Well, I don't know about that, but January tends to be the time when people assess their finances. Like, we better stay home for 2 weeks and figure this out. But
I'll spend all my money. I can't buy wine right now.
Right. Well, I think it's
room for wine.
Well, so coffee house. I know my wife would be interested in this. So what kind of coffee do you provide? Is it local? Are you coming out of South America? Where is that coming out of?
Colombia.
Okay.
South America. I think some from Africa.
Oh,
yeah, I didn't even know there is. I don't know if it's Ethiopia or somewhere from around there. They grind their own coffee there.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so
We're gonna have to maybe swing by and try some of that.
I know. This all sounds good. I'm just looking at my notes. I'm like, this is a great place to hang out. Do you mind if I move in?
yeah.
You may have to work for it.
Yeah, I may have to work. So live events. I come from a background of radio, music. I was a DJ for a few years. So what kind of live events do you have here, and does that bring in the hefty crowds?
So we will start with the Valentine's, and then we will have. We normally have got the wine walk in March, and then in April, I put some clover out. So then I will bush hog some roads in the clover, and I will put picnic tables out. So then the people can order a picnic basket, and I will do like a hayride and drop the people off. But the last 2 years, so last year we started with a 5 kilometer run. And then we're going to do it this year again.
A 5K.
So we want to change it up a little bit. Like I think in May, I did the South African pig roast. So I will do South African food. So I will toss a pig, and I will do some bread on a fire and some South African sausage and some South African dessert and stuff.
All right. I'm moving in.
Yeah.
So, I'm coming.
We're going to have to come to that event. That sounds fun.
That sounds good. I'm intrigued by the plant and the clover. That's almost romantic. Is that kind of a romantic thing? That's pretty cool. You drop them off with a hayride. They sit at the picnic table.
Some places I will bush out a heart where the romantic people can sit.
You do that? You do that yourself?
This guy here, man.
I know.
So there should be not a reason why any guy should not get any proposals then.
There's a lot of proposals that come out of here for sure.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, it sounds like you got quite the operation go. Do you have an operations manager, or is that one of your roles as well?
So me and John, I will say he's the guy that make the plan with the wines, and then I make the wine till about 2015, and then his nephew came and helped us. So Colin is more with the winemaking. I'm more with the vineyard and marketing the wines. And then we've got the manager that's doing the restaurant and the events and stuff.
Okay, that's cool.
That's cool.
And I know we'll hopefully get Colin on here in a minute. I'd love to chat with him as well. I mean, anytime you get a winemaker and you get to pick their brains, it's kind of fun, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's
most
awesome.
definitely.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, let's shift gears one more time. You have a lot of awards up over there. What are you especially proud of? I know, like children, right, Will? You never pick one child over another, but are there things right now that are really, really fantastic and extraordinary, and your customers are buying off the shelves?
We've got I think it was in Florida, a double gold for the Blanc de Bois.
Okay.
And it was a really good year. I think it was 2011, really dry. So I don't know if you know Radel glass, the Radel glass people. So they invite a lot of people at farm with Blanc de Bois.
Really?
So we fly in there and then we taste the Blanc out of the different type of glasses.
Oh, interesting.
And then we choose a glass that that the blanc tastes really good out. So that was awesome.
Well, I know Andy was kind of teaching us about that a little bit just a week ago, just the different classes, and that's pretty cool stuff, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah,
the world of wine is so massive.
Yeah, you can learn something new every single minute.
And I didn't know that, but the different type of glass, the form of the glass, it make a big difference on the nose. And
that's amazing.
And I just learned that myself within the last year and a half. I knew that there was the white glass and then there's a red glass, but depending on the bowl, how it's concave to the top, how the opening is, depends on how much aroma comes out, how little comes out. I'm sitting there like, who decided to do this? Like, I'm bored one day. I want to make this glass and make this wine taste different.
Well, I think just a week ago, Chris was saying that, sparkling shouldn't be in a flute. It should be in a larger glass and really get the essence and the aromas and experience that living thing that's coming at you. So it's amazing. That's cool. Cool that you take part in that. And it's probably cool for your customers as well to know you're doing that for their sake, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, so I'm going to switch gears one more time, if that's okay with you. I'm a gear shifter. I drove my Camaro today, 6-speed.
Sounds like automatic.
So I'm going to talk about obstacles. A lot of our listeners are potential future winemakers and owners. And so we've talked about this, 3-4 dozen times over the past year, but it's no picnic. You have to put both feet in. Learn how to talk. 2 feet. You have to put both feet in. Burn the bridges, burn the boats, and you have to say, okay, I'm committed to this. Okay, what, number one, are your biggest obstacles that you've run into as a owner? And number two, what are some of the cool things that you've experienced that has maybe given you a renaissance in life?
Yeah. I said the obstacles is the climate, the weather. It's really hard because you want your grapes really perfect, but it never happened like that. Mm-hmm. So the other thing is, if you harvest, you've got a really good year and you make some good wine. And people come out here and they enjoy the wine. And they said they never taste wine that's good. So that's really a blessing. And
a pat on the back, right? Makes you feel good, uplifts you, right? Adds value to what you're trying to accomplish here for sure. And then just back to some of the obstacles too. We're all over the age of 40 at least, right? I think, Will, you're probably the pup of the group here.
I'm 20,
you're like
I'm 23
times 2. And but we noticed that there's kind of a quit culture out there, but that mindset does not work in the winemaking world.
That is so. And like you said, people that wants to start with wine, I've got many years of experience. I always tell them, listen, go and plant 2 or 3 rows of grapes.
Smart.
Because sometimes they want to go and plant 30 or 40 acres. It's really expensive. Mm-hmm. So go and plant 2 or 3 rows and then go and work them for 2 or 3 years. Just get the feeling. And then you can go and plant some grapes. Sometimes I'm telling them just go and farm with some cows.
That's probably smart.
But no, that is just to get the feeling. If you farm with grapes before, that's fine, but just a little bit to get the feeling, and then from there you can go and plant as many as you want.
Yeah, I've got I'm a really hands-on learner. I'm working on becoming a winemaker myself, and I want to be able to do it from harvesting the grapes to making everything, and so I've actually planted some vines in my backyard. So I've got Tannat, Mourvedre, and Grenache in my backyard, and I just planted them in March, I think it was.
How about a year ago?
Yeah, and man, immediately when I put them in the ground, man, they just took off like weeds. In fact, I was clipping clusters off of them. And then I got a Great Pyrenees pup, and then she decided that she wanted to play with them. But they're still there. I'm taking care of them, and it gives me an opportunity to learn because, yes, growing a vine, growing 2 or 3 vines is no big deal, but when you start growing massive amounts of vines, that's a whole different ballpark. You need to kind of get your mindset. Okay, so it takes this much work just to do 12 vines. Well, double that, triple that, quadruple that, and then figure out, okay, is it for me? And there's some people out there that want to do that. That's what they're good at. Like, was it Chris? No, our agricultural guy. Just went blank on his name.
Mike? No.
Yeah, Mike Cook. Michael Cook. I mean, he is like the vine whisperer,
The vine whisperer.
I like that name now. We're going to call him that.
That's it. Yeah.
But people want to they don't want to do that part. They want to get the grape. They want to go ahead and make the wine. They want the wine ready now. And wine is not about instant gratification, which is, we live in that kind of society. It's an instant gratification. You have to understand that it takes time to get the grape, to get it where you need it, then you got to go in here and say, okay, now we're going to process this grape. We're going to get it ferment and then bottle it and let it age and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I said some people that the first grapes that I planted here, it was for a doctor and his wife. So when we start pruning, she didn't want to prune it. She's scared. So it's good to prune it right so that, that they can have enough grapes. And
it starts even with the trellis, because if you do the wrong trellis, you lost everything.
Well, I think the lesson here is that, it's minimum 3 years, years, right? Is that correct? And so, for people to think I'm going to come out here and build what I'm experiencing here now in 1 or 2 years is incredibly naive.
Yeah. It's coming over years. I wish I've got photos. Maybe I have to make some slides. How it look when we start.
That would be awesome.
It's unbelievable how we changed it.
You just aged yourself because you said the word slide.
Slide.
And I have a question about what do you consider, as we were talking about these wines a moment ago that Michael just asked you, would you consider your most prized vintage? What year would you say?
Yes.
Since you started now, we're at 20 years now.
Yeah.
So Texas has had some really crazy hot, some really crazy cold.
And not so crazy.
Your favorite?
Like you said, the Portillas really do good nearly every year, but the Blanc of 2011.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh,
okay.
That was awesome.
The Blanc de Bois,
the
still
Blanc de Bois.
wine.
The Blanc de Bois?
The still wine, not
the Blanc de Bois wine. The wine?
Yeah, as a whole, not the Blanc de Bois Portejas, the Blanc de Bois in general.
Yes.
nice.
Cool. That was the year. And was that summer or in that spring just especially generous to you? Is that why that turned out that way? I mean, was it a blessing? Was it a blessed year?
Yeah, that year, because normally I just water the grapes a little bit, but that year was so dry that we have to drill a well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So, and since then, I think we used the well once or twice, but to fill up the pond a little bit, but yeah, it was really.
I think it was Michael Barton who said, I'm a welder, I'm a plumber, I'm a well digger, I'm all those sort of things. Because when you own something like that, it's
so
big.
we joke and said in South Africa, you are a farmer, you are a lawyer, you are a doctor. You have to do anything. So
to the point of that particular year, he said it was very dry. That is what typically makes the best grapes anyway.
Okay.
Yes.
Because they have to struggle so much that they put so much energy, meaning the grape, into itself, which produces typically every farmer that I've ever met will tell you that it was one of our worst, driest, hottest, whatever. And that's the best grape.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's the butterfly getting out of the cocoon, right?
Yep.
The butterfly's going to be stronger when it struggles to get out. Same with the grape. It needs to do that. It needs to battle.
Yeah, so there will be more aroma. So that's why you get, like when it's a wet year, you will get more juice from it than when it's a dry year.
Yep.
So, and that's why they said, okay, that was a really good year because it was so dry in the flavor.
Oh, that's perfect.
Awesome.
Right on. Well, let's kind of wrap up this a little bit with two questions. One, what's close to your heart? So do you work with the community here in this region of Texas? Do you do activities? Are you partnering up with the, with the cities and the communities near you? What are some things you're really passionate about?
Yeah. So what we did was, for the church, we did a fundraiser. So I planted all the wind pumpkins. Okay. So then they will have like a fun day, and then we will have a hayride. The people, they will go with me, and then they can choose their wind pumpkin, and then we will have like some pumpkins that they can shoot with a paintball gun, or pumpkin wine or something like that. That's a fun time for them, so that they can get some money for the church.
I've never planted pumpkins. Just for the record, I'm not much of a green thumb, but how many pumpkins did you plant, or how many were produced from that effort?
No, there was a lot. I think I planted about 2 acres.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay, that's wonderful.
Pumpkins, it looks like pumpkins, tomatoes, and sweet potatoes. I plant some sweet potatoes too, and it's unbelievable. I have to go and take some to the rescue mission, and for the people. There's too many for the.
Wow. Andy and Will, my wife. What are two things? Well, 3. She loves me. Number 1. Number 2, wine. Number 3, sweet potatoes.
Oh,
so
yes.
So you're in big trouble if my wife comes out here. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
And to that point, you had mentioned your 5K. Is there a charity associated with your 5K or is it just free?
I think it's a charity. We've got a lady that's organized it, so I guess
we'll get her. Yeah,
but it's for a charity. I don't know if it's for cancer. I think maybe it's for cancer. Yeah.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. Is that Carrie who does that, or who does that?
Tara.
Okay. I'm gonna have to pull her aside for a minute because my wife, number 4, running, right?
Yes.
Holy Toledo. Well, real quick, young man, go ahead and tell us. Wrap it up with your portion here. What do you want to talk to our fellow Texans about? What sets you apart with this winery, and what's going to bring them here?
As I said, just to get out of the cities,
Come
out here and enjoy the nature, the scenes, the wines, and the people. Sometimes you met interesting people at the winery. There was people that come and sit at one table, and then they walk to the other table, and their table walk to the counter to order some wine, and at the end they were big buddies.
I like that.
So
that's the wine community, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're very close.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, we sure are grateful and appreciative for this opportunity. I am extremely impressed with your property, you as a gentleman, and then your staff's been great. But Andy, final thoughts here real quick with this gentleman?
Yeah, final thoughts would be that you guys have so many options, so you can get the high-end dry wines for the wine snob, if you will, kind of like me. And then you have fruit wines. I noticed. What's your favorite fruit wine?
I like dry wines. My favorite is the Blanc. So when we start with the wines, I told John, we need a dry wine, off dry. Off dry is just a little bit sweeter than dry, and then we need the sweet. So the Blanc de Bois off dry. That's my favorite, and I think that will make a really good champagne too. So we will try in the future, if the weather play, their part, and we can get a good harvest. We will.
Nice.
But then a follow up to that, if you do a sparkling, then I presume you'll have to add the Le Noir or another red to balance that acidity, or what?
No. We did a little bit, with sparkling. That's, by bottling by hand, it's a lot of work. I think it like 3 minutes to do one bottle.
Oh, wow.
So it tastes really good. I maybe if we want to make like a pink type of color, we can add a little bit of Le Noir to it. Yeah.
Cool.
Very good. And Will, do you want to wrap this segment up, my friend?
Altus, when I met you out at Pineywood Wine Festival.
Oh, is that where you met him out there?
That's where I met him out there, yeah.
Very good.
Ron from out there at Kiefer Saul actually introduced me to you and said that you make some of the greatest wines out here in East Texas. And everybody says that about every winery. And I think everybody makes their own great wine for their own place, But I drank some of your wine out there, and I really, really did enjoy it. And this is one of my most excited wineries to visit here in East Texas. And so to come out here and sit down and have a chat with you and get to talk to you and get to know more about you and your history, what you've done here, it's such an honor. And I thank you for allowing us to come out here.
Yeah, very cool.
Thank you for coming out, and so I can talk to you guys too and get the word out there.
Yeah, well, you can share this podcast with all your customers and get it on your website. We'll follow up on it. But we're going to meet a couple other people here in a moment. But real quick, just 2 of our partnerships. We want to talk about Texas Wine Club. We like those folks down there in Fredericksburg. We're grateful for them, and they're really doing some great things. I think I got 2 emails from them just yesterday, so I know they're running and hopping and screaming and changing things up a little bit. So that's pretty cool. And then also our Texas Wine Lover app and website. How much fun are those guys down there?
Oh, yeah. Amy and Jeff are amazing people. Have you met Amy and Jeff before from Texas Wine Lover?
I think so, yeah.
They probably have been here for
both
sure.
Both great people. And of course, Ron, actually, who works for Kiefer Saul, he's actually their ambassador as well.
Yeah, we're proud of that partnership with those guys as well. They've been nothing but supportive and kind to us, and we reciprocate by mentioning their amazing work down there as well. So check out Texas Wine Lover app and, of course, their website. And Texas Wine Club, we're grateful for them as well. So let's take a quick break, gentlemen, and we'll be back in a moment with a couple new faces. Will, we're back, buddy, and Andy was here today. How much fun was that?
Oh, that was fun. It's great to have someone who's more smarter than you and I.
Yeah, that's a great. Thanks for introducing the second half with that little observation. But to me, it's kind of, I always say the word fun, but it is enjoyable to go to new places and meet new people. And we have a couple more young entrepreneurs and hard workers here. We're going to interview here in a minute. So we're just having a great time. And so we're out here at Enoch Stomp Vineyard and Winery.
How much wine have you had?
Well, that's a tough one. And we already interviewed Altus, and so he was a total gentleman. And now we have two other awesome people here. And so real quick, we're going to introduce Colin and Tara. Tara.
Yes.
So Tara. Yeah,
not Tara.
Yeah, and so welcome you guys to We Know Texas Vino.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you don't know, I mean, you're in the wine industry, but we're a national, actually technically international podcast.
Global.
So yeah, global. You like that word?
I like that global.
Not international.
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
kind of like Pinky the Brain.
How about intergalactical? All right, yeah. So Colin, let's start with you. I understand you work here and you're the winemaker. Is that correct?
I am, yes, sir.
How long have you been doing that?
Man, it's been about 10 plus years now, probably 11 years, actually.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you're like 17 years old, so let's do some quick math real quick. So when you were 8 years old,
I probably started working here when I was about 20, 21.
Okay.
And I started just doing the grunt work. So we're talking about, when harvest season comes around, a lot of heavy lifting.
Yes, indeed.
A lot of stuff that just people need to do. And so all the grunt work kind of came through me. And so, out there picking grapes or cleaning tanks or doing all that stuff. So I kind of got my feet wet doing that. I was actually going to school at University of Washington at the time. And so my uncle brought me out here. Him and Altus, who you just interviewed, are the two owners. So he brought me out and kind of showed me the ropes. And then it kind of stuck with me. I went here for a few summers and decided, I like it out here.
And now you're here full time, it sounds like, yeah?
I am, yes. Sir.
Yeah, and so your Washingtonian roots, I was mentioning to your friend who walked through with a University of Washington jacket on. I'm like, hey, hold on, I'm a University of Arizona boy, so what's going on there? But he said that you guys were from Washington. Now, that is some wine country. That has really evolved. I just received, my mother-in-law lives in Vancouver, Washington, and she just sent me 12 bottles from 6 from Hawkins. You know Hawkins over there on the Columbia River? And then also from Maryhill there in Vancouver.
Nice,
great Washingtonian wines. But did you take some of that knowledge, or did you have the knowledge of the Washingtonian vibe and bring it here to Texas, or was it all fresh when you got here?
It was all fresh. I wish I actually knew what I was going to go into growing up, because I lived 15 minutes from Chateau Ste. Michelle. I could have worked there and done other stuff. Wow. But no, it was all new to me kind of when I first got out here. And Texas wine is so different than Washington wine. Similarities, obviously, you're dealing with the grapes, but not the same types, not the same weather.
Yes, sir.
All that stuff. So.
Yeah, the terroir here in Texas is a little bit different than Washington.
A lot of it different. Yeah.
Well, and I'm I'm just throw this out there real quick, but definitely different tastes. But I know when I taste a Washingtonian wine or an Oregonian wine, and I was wine club members all throughout that region for years. It's a different taste for sure. But you bring a new touch to this podcast here. Now you're making wine in Texas. So what are the comparisons? What are the obvious differences?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Washington wine, I mean, they have such strict standards with what you can do to the grapes that you bring in, just from a standpoint of winemaking. The climate's so different. We actually get Washington grapes out here. That. So it's fun to see those grapes come in and kind of the work that we have to do to get the wine that we're trying to produce. Texas is a very difficult spot to grow grapes, especially making wines that people are used to or accustomed to. I think Washington, Oregon, that whole West Coast, California as well. You got great wines out of there. And Texas is, when you talk about the wine scene, relatively new to the game. It's growing drastically, but we're still in the process of figuring out what works best here. What can we grow, whether it's one side of the state or the other. Where we're at, way in East Texas, there's so much difficulty just with weather and the climate, just to grow grapes that are going to last on the vine and be able to make something that people enjoy drinking. So a lot of difficulty goes into it, but I actually really enjoy that aspect because the stuff that we bring in requires a lot of attention on our part and the challenge of turning something that isn't necessarily known well in the wine world into something that people enjoy drinking, and something that we enjoy making, and kind of figuring out what path do we go with it. It's a huge challenge and a fun challenge.
That's so cool.
And with the Washington grapes we get in, people do a great job growing grapes out there, both places, but it's a lot easier on our standpoint when we get those Washington grapes. Great numbers they always come in with, and it just seems like It's more difficult making a wine from samples from Texas.
Okay.
But I like that too. It's fun.
I don't know about you, Will, but I'm really impressed to see a young man. I'm guessing you're probably born in the mid-90s or whatever, just because I have a son who's 27, so I based it on that. But, it's pretty cool to see young people get involved in the wine community, especially here in Texas, because I really think it's thriving. But you do have some Washingtonian roots, so I'm going to take it to the next level, if that's okay with you, sir. And then we're going to interview this young lady over here. But yeah, next level. So, California is California, Yahoo. And then we got the Oregonian, Washingtonian tone and vibe happening right now, which again, I'm very, very impressed with. But what's happening here in Texas, in your opinion, being a young winemaker? Can you maybe tell our listeners what's happening in Texas and what you've seen, especially here in East Texas?
Oh, yeah. Well, when Enoch first started, it was just one of a handful of wineries that was out here. And now you look at Fredericksburg and, even up north there, in Denton.
Red River, you bet.
Yeah. And so just so much growth. People are jumping into it. A lot of grapes are being grown, a lot of wineries popping up. And so that growth is really cool to see. And it's fun. It's fun to see that as well. The wine community is great. I mean, you guys interview people all over it, and it's just such a fun, culture to be in because everyone's out there helping each other. And we love working with other people and bringing people in and doing all that. So
that was my next question, actually, is because we know in Fredericksburg, that community, and then of course over in West Texas now, up in north of Dallas, just a total cooperative effort, and people are helping each other out, and they like each other, and it's kind of a different vibe than if anybody's been to California,
they like
right?
Each other, huh?
Yeah, Washington's pretty cool, Oregonians are pretty cool, but here in Texas, it's just a total let's join arms and make something happen.
Well, Rusty even said out at Breaking Bud is that cooperation. It's
Cooperation. Yeah. It's a tough word. I know it's 4 syllables.
It's a hard word because it's not a real word, but but he made a good point about it. It's you're still a competition with each other, but you cooperate with each other to help each other advance to the next.
Is that the vibe out here in East Texas?
I think a great way to look at it is we compete with each other. We try to do it, but it's in a way to help each other out. We do blind tastings all the time with people bringing wine in.
Oh yeah, and
we give harsh criticism as well as great praise. But people need to know where their wine stands so
awesome.
It can elevate.
Well, and that's one of the things I love about wine industry is you can take the same grape off the same vine, give it to 2 different wineries, and you get 2 totally different wines.
Yeah,
for sure. It's the winemaker has a lot to do with that, for sure. So last thing for you, Colin, again, thanks for joining us. I know today's bottling day, right? You guys are back there bottling. You brought a friend in from Washington to help you. I saw that in your staff back there.
Did they have you go up there and bottle a little bit back there?
They did not. No, they did not invite me, but probably because they know I'm a bull in a china closet. So that's probably not a good deal. My last question is, why is Enoch being successful now? Tell us about the ownership and the staff, your colleagues, and then what brings people here?
It's all about passion. I think for us, we love experimenting, doing new things, presenting new stuff to people, bringing people in as well. I really think that community is huge. And so it's really fun to involve people, good or bad. They can see we're pretty upfront and honest about everything we do. And we like to show people, hey, here's how wine gets made. Here's what's the struggles are. Here's what's easy, what's not. And just kind of being upfront and honest. But we're always, I think the more time you spend around us, you kind of see we're always up for a challenge and always up to do new things. So our wine list is like 70 something wines long now.
Yeah, they just mentioned that the other day or just a minute ago. It's like a huge wine list.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's partly due because we love doing what we do.
That's cool.
And we love to just involve whatever it is. It could be wine, it could be ciders, meads, anything.
That's
we're
great.
Always willing to kind of
that's good.
Do all that.
Well, that's your youthful enthusiasm. I do that a lot. So very, very cool. And I'd like to maybe afterwards talk to you about a little bit more about Washington as well, and just some of your experiences over there, because it's a great state. It's wonderful. But
so I've got a quick question for him.
Okay.
So Colin, what is your favorite wine and vintage?
Ooh, from Enoch or just in general?
No, just from Enoch.
Okay. My favorite type of wine is anything that we grow here, which is out here. So I love our Norden. Actually, it's a great one. Vintage wise, I always want to say it's the stuff in the barrels because it's the stuff we just made and got it out. We always try to up it each year. 2018 was really good, a good wine. And so we brought in 2018 was just a good year in general for us. So a lot of good wines there. But Blanc de Bois is probably honestly what I would drink when I come out there, just a crisp white wine. It's really hot here in the summertime.
Yes, it is.
It kind of hits a little bit.
Perfect.
a little bit better. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, brother. That's awesome. Yeah.
Blanc de Bois is actually, I love being.
You've always said you like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
it's great. It's great.
In fact, my first time drinking it was out at Terra Winery, and they had a glass of water and that sitting right next to it. And I actually thought the Blanc de Bois was water.
Yeah.
And I grabbed it and went to drink it. And I was like, wait a minute.
Best water you've ever had.
This is the best water I've ever had.
That's right. Well, Colin, we're grateful for you. I wish you the very, very best of luck. And again, the youthful energy is really attractive to me. I think it's just really cool that Enoch has you here as a great asset, a valued asset. And I just wish you the very, I'm sure we'll be reading about you many years to come.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank
All
you
right.
so
We'll
much.
shift gears to this awesome young lady who's being patient with us over here. So Tara, I come from sports marketing, and one of my favorite athletes ever was a young lady named Tara. So I should have called you that. And so she was an amazing basketball player, and it was really fun. Well, Tara, first thing I noticed when I arrived here is I went back to see the bottling happen. And I walked in there and everyone said hello. And the coolest thing I saw was this awesome, bright smile of this young lady who does not know me at all.
I know.
You want to stop smiling. And, the Sasquatch walks in and she's just like, well, welcome.
Why are you talking about me like that?
Well, no, I'm talking about myself. So, Tara, how long have you been? Well, first of all, where are you from?
I am from Houston. I'm a
Houston.
Texas girl.
Okay, very nice.
From Houston.
Yeah.
I married a guy from this area.
Okay.
Who moved up to Northeast Texas.
Perfect.
And I actually background in speech therapy. Nothing to do with wine.
Oh, she will definitely love it.
Okay, so you and my wife was a speech pathologist for 20 years. And
I speak
runner.
very, very fast.
Yeah. And so you're here now. So you had to change gears a little bit. So you got out of your comfort zone or just something new?
Completely out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
So it was during COVID. I was working from home. And we were like, one day, me and my husband, we want to grow grapes of our own. So during that time, it's like, you know what, I'm from home. I'll go to Washington State University online. And I did viticulture. Yeah, I did the viticulture program. Loved it. I came to the owners here, John and Altus, and I said, listen, maybe just an internship, because growing grapes in Texas, it's not like textbook stuff you read in Washington. It's hard. So talked to them about an internship, and I fell in love with it, and I haven't left yet.
That's awesome.
And so your role here, I know you are a wine bottler. I saw that today. I know that you also are instrumental in some of the fun runs they do here, probably throughout the vineyards. And so tell us what your role is here and some of the cool things you're excited about.
Yeah, so I started out helping out in the vines because that's what I went to school for, viticulture. And then I came in the back and I was helping Colin out, assisting him. I do festivals, a lot of that outside marketing, I guess, in a way. And yeah, we're just now planning a run. It is on April 6th. We have a wine fun run. And so you can drink, run, do all the fun stuff.
That's so cool. And so tell us more, because my wife's a runner. So it's a 5K run. Where do you run through the pumpkin patch and through all the different, what do you do?
Yep, going through the vines. And once you're done, we'll give you a free tasting. And actually, we're also working with Finn's Friends. It's a local charity.
Okay.
And it's just a great organization. So you're giving back to the community as well as...
Describe that. What Finn's Friends, is it like a dog rescue or what is it?
It's actually a family. They have a son, and it's a muscular disorder.
I'm sorry. Okay.
But all the proceeds goes to them. And you can donate however much you want.
That's so cool.
And afterwards, just have fun.
Yeah.
Hanging out at the tasting room.
Yeah. Well, what has been your favorite, Tara, your favorite experience here? Well, you've been here for a couple of years now, it sounds like, since COVID, right?
Yeah,
the flu season.
Yeah.
And so what has been your favorite experience, number one? And then maybe just talk about the staff you work with and maybe how they uplift you and add value to you and your family.
Yeah, of course. Favorite experience.
We should have prepped her.
No, it's fine. Just there's a lot.
So remember that day that your finger got cut off, or you couldn't
I'm counting
I will
5.
say I did cancel my gym membership after working here because it is hard.
It is
work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've
That's
never had
awesome.
arm muscles.
Yeah, right.
Before lifting barrels.
Yeah.
And
I'm in better shape now lifting these barrels than I ever was doing a bench press.
Stinking gym.
Yeah, right. I love it. Oh, that's cool.
1 and 2 and 3 and with the glass in your hand.
Maybe the arm muscles is from all the drinking of the wine.
That was the old joke growing up, right? I'm working my arm muscles. Well, and then talk about the staff you work with. I know you're super fun, and you seem like a super like an appealing person. So I'm sure you, add value to them. They're adding value to you, and so there's just good synergy or harmony or melody.
Very much. And what's cool about this place is we like to call it boutique style. We're not one of the Josh Cellars or big commercial that you see all in the grocery store. So it's kind of good in that sense because we all wear a lot of different hats.
Okay.
Earlier you asked what my job title was.
And you're like, I have no idea.
I do a lot of things. Everyone does a lot here. So we all work together.
Yeah.
When I go on festivals like sometimes work with front of the house people, and just everyone helps everyone.
That's very cool. Yeah. And so it's just a good environment. And then does your husband participate up here as well? Or what does he do?
Yeah, he's a good free labor every once in a while.
I was wondering, because a lot of times that is part of the gig. It's like, well, my wife works there. I guess I'm doing some work up there as well. So yeah, that's really, really cool.
Great. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, anything you want to add to our podcast at all?
No, just everyone check out, go online, check out the fun run. We have wine run coming up.
There you go.
It's April 6th.
April 6th. Okay, that's perfect. Well, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Thank you for having me.
All right, Tara. And now we have another young lady who's just joined us real quick. This is Carrie. Hi, Carrie.
Hello, Will.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Michael.
that's
Hi, Michael.
I'm
Michael.
I'm Will.
That's okay.
Michael.
I love it. I love you.
Michelle.
I love you.
Yeah,
I was just telling.
actually, that's his. It really is his name. Is Michelle.
Well, I was just telling Tara when I walked into the bottling room, I immediately saw this great group of people, super friendly, uplifting, great smile. But you were Miss Energy, Carrie. You were Miss Energy, and you were you're like 5'0" and you just were full of just great energy and ready to roll. So who are you, and what do you do here?
They hired me so I can climb really high and get into small places
But
very
when you see the
easily.
small places, are you a climber?
Yes.
You, as a little girl, you were climbing trees and in caves
Absolutely.
and stuff. It's fun. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Alabama, but I've lived all over
the
United States.
Why?
And
why did you live all over?
Well, we
Gypsy?
chose to.
Little gypsy girl?
Little gypsy girl.
Yeah.
But I was hired as a wine ambassador.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I love to greet people and talk about wine. And then I studied for a wonderful little test. And so I took my CMS introductory. So I am a big nerd about wine, and I love it.
Fun. I love you.
Yes.
Yeah. Too much fun.
Yeah. And so is Ron, who is my other CMS ambassador.
Nice. So we met Ron earlier as well. That's so much fun. So just like Tara, you probably have many roles here. What's your favorite role here? What do you, I mean, you're an ambassador, so you have a personality, but what is like your favorite thing to do? You look forward to it when you get here every day.
Well, how great is it to look forward to come to work every day? I don't really call it work.
No.
I do love it.
Yeah.
I love, we have a wine club that's fabulous.
Okay.
It's over 900 people.
That's impressive.
So we have two weekends quarterly where we have over 400 people that come.
Wow.
And we serve wine and pair it with food. Our chef pairs it with food. It's a lot of fun.
You almost have to break that in half, don't you? Like half this
so many
weekend,
people.
half next
Wait a
weekend.
minute, I want to back this up. You said 900.
Absolutely, yes.
That's a good number.
That is impressive. I mean, that is amazing. And you're not like I mean, you're a large winery, but you're not like a huge winery. You know,
we're considered small boutique.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's why I'm saying that. Because you're still considered a smaller boutique winery. You know, that's pretty impressive.
Well, not only the producing that much wine for your wine club members and the average everyday Joe who walks in here, but how about the hospitality and the preparation? That's probably where you guys come in big time, is getting ready for that amazing event twice quarterly. Yes.
Yes, and we really do have patrons that feel like family.
That's cool.
It's very family oriented, and the synergy you talked about, it's through everything here
Very
that
nice.
we do.
I love that.
Yes.
That's good. Well, good. Well, so tell us about the. I'm going to pick your brain. The ownership. The two gentlemen who are owners. Are they decent guys? They seem like troublemakers to
They're
me.
terrible. They're awful.
No,
why do you
of
have
course
to do
not.
that?
No.
So tell us about that real quick, and your relationship with them, and then how awesome it's been maybe being side by side with those guys.
So they are the original owners.
That's
so
cool.
actually this year marks 20 years. And you met Altus earlier.
Amazing.
And John and Altus have worked together. John, I like to call as the mad scientist. So he's sort of our, he's our doctor and has started out, making the wine before Colin came in. And then Altus is our grape grower, and it's just a beautiful family feeling. Everyone's very close.
And it sounds like those two guys in particular are very close, and they understand their roles and maybe picking up, each other's roles here and there. But just two really great fellows to work for. Correct.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yes.
Well, anything else you want to share with our listeners?
No, come out and see us.
Oh,
we have, we're here in Harleton.
Yeah.
You can stay at our villas. We have 2 villas.
We heard about that.
So-
Fine dining.
I'm going to have to book that villa myself. You know?
That sounds good.
I want to come out and watch the sunrise.
Yes.
Can I have a glass of wine delivered to my villa?
We can work on that for you. Absolutely. And we have classes. So we actually have a class coming up soon. So every other month. Yes.
What kind of class is it?
It's a 5-course meal with our chef, and we pair 5 wines with it. A little education, and it's wonderful. We have one in 2 weeks.
As our friend Andy likes to say, education.
Yes.
Education. Yes. Speaking of ownership, John, we don't know where he comes from. Where did he grow up, and why is he here now?
Washington.
Oh, he's a Washington. Okay. And
Yes.
so his
Oh, wow.
nephew, who we met, also Washingtonian.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
That just completes the whole circle now.
Yeah,
That
we
makes
got it all
everything
figured out.
understand.
Now we
Yeah.
understand this place completely.
Yes.
So, well, you've been awesome. Thank you for your time. I know you're a busy lady bottling today, and just again,
Thanks.
love your energy.
Yes, thank you for
Thank
having us
you.
here.
very
Yeah,
much.
awesome. Then we have is this Ron over here?
Yes.
Ron, what a pleasure meeting you. You seem like the gentleman of the group here, where you kind of walk in, you have that very, very professional disposition. So, what do you do here, sir?
I do tours and tastings. So this, wine's always been my passion.
Okay.
Ever since they had glass gallon jugs of Sebastiani Cabernet.
Wow, be darned.
Back in the day.
I remember those. Yeah. I think my mom collected those bottles.
Wow.
But it's just always been my hobby.
Okay.
I've gone to many places in Fredericksburg and California, even visited Bordeaux one time. So it's just what I do. And when I retired, the owners out here were kind enough to let me come out and I, like I said, like Carrie said, I trained with her to get our CMS introduction.
Very nice.
And then I just do tours and tastings, and usually, for a retired guy, 2.5, 3 days a week is all you need.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's good. And so, are you from the area originally, or how did you kind of come to this part of the world?
Well, I grew up in Dallas.
Okay.
Went to school in Dallas, and
Okay.
then back in the mid '80s, I got transferred with a liquor company out here.
Oh.
And I just decided to stay.
Oh, good for you.
Nice.
Very nice. And so, Ron, being kind of the gentleman of the group here, what is your favorite thing you look forward to when you come in here? Are you a people person? It seems like you do really well with people. Is that kind of one of your favorite things, or what is the thing that gets you going?
It is.
Yeah.
It is what my passion is.
Okay.
And the tours and tastings are wonderful.
Yeah.
Winos are wonderful people. So you get them out here and you talk to them. They
are fun.
They soak up the information.
They do.
Because on the tours we give them the history. We talk about the grapes.
Yeah.
Talk about the barrels. We go back to the crush pad and actually taste something from a tank that's not finished.
Interesting. So that's the experience, isn't it? That's
Yes,
quite the
that is.
experience. Yeah.
Look
cool.
forward to doing that.
Yeah. Well, I know that, people are hungry for knowledge, and especially in the wine community. It's a very friendly community, right? So you probably just get a lot of great feedback. And I can already tell from your personality or your mindset that you probably just really enjoy that. And really, you embrace that opportunity. People probably leave this great establishment and your experience with them really happy and glad that they participated.
And that's what makes me happy.
Good.
Whenever the people have a good time out here, and the tastings are fun because we get people to try things that they wouldn't have normally.
Yeah, very good. Well, we just interviewed 3 young people, Carrie and of course Tara, and then Colin. What tell us about those 3? Since they're not here, we can talk behind their backs now. Are they just as amazing as I think they are?
Yes.
Okay, great.
They are. They're just they make it so much fun. They give us so much information, and like I said, Carrie and I went through about 9 months of studying for the CMS, so it was a lot of fun. We would go in the lodge over there and drink wine and eat cheese and just study.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're going to take it just do a couple sponsors real quick. We'd like to keep you actually, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
We want to ask you a couple more questions here, just because we're kind of curious about a few things. But
we got to do a little education.
Yes.
And we got you here, and we got the wino guy here,
Yeah.
so we will have a great education moment
it
here.
might be like a battle of the what are those TV shows
Wits?
where like the two
Wits?
intelligent gentlemen going for each other. But let's go ahead and talk about our other 2 sponsors and partnerships real quick. Flywithwine.com, of course, with one of our newer, they're solving wine problems and dilemmas.
Yes.
Too much fun. We have one of those cases and it holds 12 bottles of wine, which is pretty cool.
It's the most amazing thing I have in the house.
Isn't that wonderful? And then one of our newest partnerships I'm excited about, mostly because I'm sitting next to the gentleman, wino guy, Mr. Andy Gonzalez, wine enthusiast, guided wine events, blind tasting, deductive tasting guidelines, and much, much more. Andy, thanks for being here with us, and thanks for kind of just reaching out to us and helping us out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, we're glad you're part of it. We're glad you're a really big part of it. So, folks, we'll be back just for our educational portion here in a minute. We'll also do our takeaways, and I have a couple quotes for you today. They're both very deep, and we'll do that right after this break. Sound good? All right. Cheers.
Hey, this is Jeff Poe from TexasWineLover.com. We're here with Will, Michael, and Jen from We Know Texas Vino.
And this is Amy Nemec with the Texas Wine Lover mobile app. We're wrapping up the interview and moving into the wine education portion of the episode, so stick with us.
Okay, we're back for our educational portion here of We Know Texas Vino. And of course, we're blessed, Will, to have Andy here with us today. And so Andy's going to take over here in a minute. Andy, thanks for being here, brother.
Let's talk wine.
Let's do it. And so you have some questions for this gentleman, Mr. Ron.
I do, Mr. Ron. We're going to talk about palates. I come from a big background of wine, thousands and thousands of wines I've tried over the years, and I understand the concept of what it takes to have a palate, first of all. So you got a customer that comes in here, doesn't taste wine, wants to learn about wine. What do you tell them? How do you get them going with respect to tasting wine? What do you do?
Well, the first thing I do is try to determine if their taste runs sweet or dry. I also explain to them that dry just means no sugar, so don't be afraid. And I tell them that we're going to try some things, and I'm going to take them out of their comfort zone so that they will learn something while they're here.
Perfect. And I think that is exactly the way I would couch it, because it is a comfort zone. Many people come from beer drinking or liquor drinking, and if they drink liquor, typically they'll have something sweet or sugary in there all the time. And I love the way you explained that dry means not sweet. Mm-hmm. So now that being said, you have something like 45 wines here, 45 options. Someone says, well, I like blackberry fruit. I don't like sugar necessarily, but I like it fruity. Where are you going to steer them?
Oh, wow. If I'm trying to get them, trying to do what I say, take them to the dark side.
I like that.
I already like this guy.
Yeah. Then I'm going to go with something fairly light, as far as like a Pinot Noir or something like that I can just kind of judge what they're going to feel about it. And then after that, I'll just try to guide them into some other things to find out where they're at. So.
Okay, so let's say they take your Pinot Noir and they say, "Oh my gosh, that's too dry. It's drying my mouth out." And of course we're talking about tannins. Mm-hmm. I want to go to the lighter side. Now, what do? Do you take them to whites? Do you take them to rosés? Because the palate, as you know, from a fruit perspective, the tongue only tastes sweet at the front, acidic on the sides, bitter at the back. That's it. There's nothing more. So it requires the nose, the olfactory, to do the rest of that story. So what do you do then?
Tough interview.
Yeah, it is.
It's a tough crowd.
Normally, in the tastings that I do here, I like to run them through, starting with a few sweets, and then getting into some dry, starting with a sweet white, maybe a sweet red, get into some dry whites, and then get into the dry reds. So I'm trying to progress them through all of those so that they have a choice to see what they like best.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's how it's done, right? Andy? Yeah. I mean, that's so well done, Ron. That's amazing. I can see why people are intrigued by that. But, to me, I've been a wine drinker for 30 plus years, but I meet new people, and you nailed it on the head there, Andy. People come in with almost this preconceived notion, this is what I must drink. And I love the fact that, Ron, you get them out of your comfort zone. I imagine we all would at this point. Yes. But just try something new, and who knows what might inspire them, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's amazing when someone comes in and tells me they only drink sweet wines, and by the time they finish, they're
good for you.
They're dry drinkers.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and that gets some other conversation.
That's such a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to do the same thing also.
Sense of accomplishment. Well, good. Well, Ron, thank you for your time, my friend. Yes. And again, we're blessed to have Andy with us, and I know he's just so knowledgeable, and just to have someone who can keep up with Andy is pretty darn cool. So I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Most enjoyable.
Best of luck to you. So we're going to finish up here just real quick with just a couple things here, and Will and Andy, we had a good time here today.
Oh, man, such a blast.
Obviously, extremely appreciative to Altus for inviting us here, and his whole staff, including Colin, Tara, Carrie, and Ron, and then all the other staff who've been observing us here, which is pretty cool, and then giving us this great spot here. But we're at Enoch Stomp Vineyard and Winery. And so takeaway, Will, what's your takeaway today?
It doesn't matter where you're from and what you do, you can always grow grapes in Texas.
Oh, interesting. All right. Yeah. And they've done it here in East Texas. Yeah. And Eddie, first time here with us as official, interviewer. What's your takeaway today, bud?
Well, first thing I want to say is that I have in front of me 3 tastings of 3 different grapes. And I love the fact that they are not afraid to bring in some Texas juice and grow what is known as a Norton grape, which I'm very intrigued by. You need to try this Norton grape.
We will.
It's grown predominantly in Missouri. It is a Vitis estivalis versus Vitis vinifera. We get into that another day. But suffice it to say, they grow it here. It's the estate-grown grape. And so my takeaway is how impressive it is that they took a chance and grew something that most don't.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah, and my quick takeaway is just I love the spirit of this place. You know, they're doing everything from pumpkin patches to 5K runs and things that are attractive to not just a select group of people, but to a multi-talented group of people. And so, and then plus wine. You throw wine in all those activities as well. So good for them for being creative and having fun. So, well, we're grateful for everything. A couple quotes here for you boys real quick. How about that? All right. So Robert Stevenson, surely you've heard of him.
Great Scotsman.
There you go. A bottle of good wine, like a good act, shines ever in the retrospect. That is for you, young man.
Can I get you to do that in your own Scottish accent?
Scottish accent. And the last one I kind of like too. But what many of us experience in a glass of wine isn't per se, but another part of ourselves, essential and free part of ourselves that seldom comes out because the real world is in constant opposition to it. And so, guys, wine is a good thing. Yes? I'm looking at Will. Andy, I think I'm overwhelming Will with my philosophical quotes.
His eyes are blinking now, so that means he's...
Yes. Well, we've had a great time out here in Harlingen, Texas. We're very grateful. So on behalf of Andy and Will and myself, Michael, this is We Know Texas Vino. Cheers.